I saw him and his wife in a tavern, and I walked up to him and say, "Hey, baby dad, we have a child together," and they're looking at me like I'm crazy. He's like, "No, I don't have any." So I'm like, "Yeah, we have a 10-year-old child together."
Craig, why would you do that like that?
What do you mean?
He knew I was dealing with other men because I was very honest with Robert, Mr. Drumgold, up front. I was super honest with him, and I told him, I'm doing me, you doing you, because I know how you get down, period. When I was all in for it with him, he was not wanting no parts of me.
We had sex every day during the summer. My mother walked in the door. My mother walked by, and then I forgot and left her clothes there, her shoes in the living room. And she opened up the closet door.
That's what you call busted.
So, kicking things off with a bang, Miss Craig spills the tea that this courtroom drama is her last shot at figuring out who she really is. She's haunted by not knowing if the guy she's been calling dad all her life is actually her dad. As she shares her deep emotional struggle and the quest for her true identity, you'll want to stick around because things are about to get even juicier.
Miss Craig, you say that today is your last hope in discovering your true identity. Now you state that one question continually haunts, is the man you've been calling dad for most of your life really your biological father?
Things heat up when Miss Craig's mom, Janelle, admits to a bit of a wild past with multiple partners around the time Miss Craig was conceived, but she's puzzled why her daughter is still on this mystery hunt. Then, Mr. Thompson drops a bombshell that he thought he was the dad until a wild twist made him doubt everything. And trust me, you haven't seen anything. The next part is a real doozy.
Miss Janelle Craig, you are Miss Mother. You admit to sleeping with more than one man at the time your daughter was conceived, yet you argue you don't understand why she's still looking for answers. Mr. Thompson, you say you always assumed you were Miss Craig's father, but then you claim a startling revelation caused you to question paternity.
Just when you think it can't get more tangled, Miss Craig takes us on a roller coaster back to her childhood days of daddy confusion, including a stern stop calling him daddy from her aunt. This chaos traces back to when Mr. Thompson popped into her life at 10, sparking all sorts of questions about who's who in her family tree. The emotional stakes are about to skyrocket, so don't go anywhere.
I've been going through too much, in and out of foster homes, back and forth. When I was about 5, there was a man in my life. He was said to be my father. I can remember calling him daddy, and my auntie like, don't call him daddy anymore, 'cause that's not your dad. And I couldn't understand why. Like, as a child, I couldn't understand why.
Out of nowhere, Janelle Craig faces off with Mr. Thompson in a tavern, claiming he's the dad right in front of his wife, only to get shut down with a big fat nope. This public showdown just adds more spice to the already sizzling pot of family secrets. Keep watching. The drama level is just about to explode.
When she was, I think, 10, I saw him and his wife in a tavern, and I walked up to him and say, "Hey, baby dad, we have a child together," and they're looking at me like I'm crazy. He's like, "No, I don't have any." So I'm like, "Yeah, we have a 10-year-old child together."
Craig, why would you do that like that?
What do you mean?
In a twist of fate, Mr. Thompson gets a call from Miss Craig's aunt, pulling him back into the fray because her mom was MIA. Despite his reservations, he dives back in to try and patch things up with Miss Craig, showcasing the messy road to rekindling family ties. And you better believe it, what's coming next is going to blow the lid off this pot.
Chanel auntie had gave me a call and told me that Chanel needed me and told me that her mother was on the way and she needed me back. And she asked me if I come back and get into her life. That's what I did, because I felt that she is a possible chance that she was.
So you came back, and so you started a relationship with her?
She wouldn't come with me alone.
Pouring her heart out, Miss Craig talks about how this whole paternity circus has been a major emotional drain, especially dealing with her on and off dad and her distant mom. This part of the saga really tugs at the heartstrings, showing just how deep family wounds can go. Buckle up, because the emotional roller coaster is about to hit a major drop.
I feel hurt by the whole situation. I feel like I got suffered for their mistake. They don't even understand like how bad it feels to me that
Well, tell them.
I gotta go through this. Y'all hurt my feelings, for real, Mom.
Well, I apologize. That was never my intentions to hurt you. Life, it comes with up and downs, and it comes with hurt.
Finally, the moment of truth.
Miss Craig, Mr. Thompson is not your father.
Sorry, Neil. You can give me a hug.
Early fireworks. Miss Souses is throwing shade, claiming Mr. Payne's mama is the reason he's denying he's the daddy to baby Aleliana. She's pushing to slap his name on that birth certificate stat. Watch how they stir the pot next.
Miss Souses, you have dragged Bennett into court today because you say it's his mother's fault he's denying your 10-month-old daughter, Aleliana. You claim when the DNA results prove he is the father, you want the defendant's name added to her birth certificate.
Talk about a hot mess. Ms. Souses spills spills the tea on their on-again, off-again love saga, pinning him as a jealous mess. Meanwhile, he and his mom tag team, calling her sneaky. The plot thickens, and oh boy, you ain't seen nothing yet.
So jealous and insecure about himself. Like, everywhere I go, he think I'm doing something. If I go to the store, I gotta be back in a certain time. Like, he's just crazy.
She honest, she lying. She been out there, Facebook messages.
You guys, they're both jealous.
Of course I'm jealous. You were my boyfriend for like almost years.
And why would I be
You guys do the same thing to each other.
All right.
How old are you guys?
I'm 19.
I'm 20.
Oh, the drama ramps up. Mr. Payne dishes out a tale of betrayal as Ms. Seuss hit the movies with another dude right after they got chatty. She claps back about his escapades, turning the courtroom into a reality show. Grab your popcorn, because there's more juicy stuff ahead.
The first day after we started talking, she went to the movies with some other guy. Facebook messages telling her ex she loved this, and
Yeah,
that.
but the next day you did something with another girl and you was just telling your ex you loved her. So what's the
No,
difference?
you lying in court? Crazy.
Miss Seuss, you did contact your ex?
Yeah, I said I care for him. I never said I love. He told his ex he loved her, and I did go to the movies with a boy, okay?
Things get real. Amidst all the back and forth about their rocky romance, the bombshell drops, pregnancy. But Mr. Payne is all about that DNA life before he signs on his dad. The tension's building, and just wait for what's next.
He was happy for a minute, and then, I don't know, I guess there we go with the DNA test stuff, so.
I was happy and shocked at the same time, because I felt like it happened fast, because we had just got back together.
Yes.
How soon after you got back together?
It seemed like right away. It seemed like that's the only reason why I questioned it, because the first time she was pregnant twice, I knew without a doubt it was his.
Family Feud time. Both their clans get into the mudslinging, debating who did what and when. It's like a soap opera with no commercial breaks. The chaos is just ramping up, so keep your eyes peeled.
They both do things to each other. It seems like they go tit for tat. Oh, you talking to a guy? I'm gonna go talk to this girl. God, they do this. This
Yes,
is what
I did
they
it,
do.
yeah. I'm not innocent.
This is
but
what
I'm not
they
gonna
do.
put no
Me
baby
neither.
on
I'm
something that's not
innocent
yours.
either. But I wasn't though, because you wanted to stay away.
Yes, I did.
So
keep
what
stressing out.
happened during the pregnancy?
Time when someone came up to me in the supermarket and, yeah, well, you're right to want a DNA test because she moves around. This lady she knows came home and told him, and he told her.
Oh, the struggle bus has arrived. These two can't figure out how to co-parent without throwing shade. It's a he said, she said showdown with baby caught in the middle. And guess what? The roller coaster is only getting loopier.
She didn't have to be alone. She chose to.
Yup,
That was on her.
because
She
who was
chose
there
to.
for me?
Mr. Payne says you didn't have to be alone.
Because I've been independent for so long, so many years by myself. I was used to it, so it was like,
Did you want him to be there and help you?
yes, I did.
I'm confused as to why you didn't allow him to help.
I did. We just argued too much, which was too much for around my daughter, and I didn't want that all around her.
Here we go again. They rehash their breakup and patch up timing, which just so happens to coincide with the baby making. Mr. Payne's got doubts, and they're airing out all their dirty laundry in front of the judge. Stick around, because the finale's coming up.
So you were broken up or on a break,
And then we
and
got back
she was
together.
dating other people, you were dating
I wasn't
other
dating
people.
I
nobody.
can't say she dating anybody, but I know we was both. I seen her at a party with a dude, and that was a couple weeks before we got back together. That's the last thing I could say.
Were you having sex during the breakup?
No, we don't talk to each other until we decide we miss each other. Then that's when we have sex.
Emotional roller coaster alert. The absence of Mr. Payne's John Hancock on the birth certificate is a major plot point, igniting more fireworks about his role in baby Aleliana's life. But don't go anywhere. The best is yet to come.
You say he's not on Aleliana's birth certificate.
Yes, that's another reason why I didn't let him take her as much.
I told him if you have any doubts, you can't sign it if you have any doubts. Get the DNA test first, like he's.
Sad that it took 10 months for it
It's
to
sad.
happen, but at least it can happen today. And if child, I'm gonna step all the way.
Good.
All the way.
100%. You
All
don't
the
gotta
way.
say good. You know what I'm gonna do.
All the way.
Finally, some answers. Judge Lake hands down the DNA verdict, and guess what?
It has been determined by this court. Payne, you are father.
Thank you.
I'm happy. Now I'm happy. Now I can be happy.
Buckle up, here it goes. Ms. Holman throws down the gauntlet in court today, claiming Mr. Drumgold is playing dodgeball with his responsibilities towards their 2-month-old daughter, Alani. She's banking on the DNA test to tag him as the dad. And oh, just wait till you hear what Mr. Drumgold has to say next.
Ms. Holman, you opened this case against Mr. Drumgold because you claim he denies fathering your 2-month-old daughter, Alani. You want Mr. Drumgold to step up to today's result, prove what you believe. He is the father.
Here comes the curveball. Mr. Drumgold fires back, totally convinced he couldn't be the daddy. According to him, Ms. Holman wasn't exactly sitting at home knitting. She had a couple other buddies at the time of conception. Strap in, because this roller coaster is just getting started.
Mr. Drumgold, you claim there is no way you are her daughter's father because you know for a fact Ms. Holman was sleeping with at least 2 other men at the time of conception. And you believe either of those 2 men could be Alani's father.
Talk about selective hearing. The court learns that Mr. Drumgold is all ears ears when it's party time, but suddenly goes deaf when it's about diaper duty. He's all about the fun calls, but mention baby Alani, and it's like talking to a brick wall. Keep your eyes peeled. The next part is even juicier.
So you feel like he's denying the baby?
Yes.
Incident and 2 other gentlemen that I know during the time that she supposed to had Alani that she was dealing with.
At the same time, me and Mr. Drumgold were never in a relationship. We have always had a relationship. The fact that he knew that there was a possibility he could have been Alani's father, he should have made some type of effort. He said he showed up at my house to bring me something, but someone else was there, so he decided to leave.
Oh, the drama unfolds. Ms. Holman reminisces about their spicy first meeting. Mr. Drumgold was quite the charmer, apparently. She fell for his swagger faster than a cat on a hot tin roof. But hang tight, because there's more tea coming your way.
So when I met Mr. Drumgold, he's a party promoter, and I used to be I'm a dancer. I was a dancer for him. I met him through a mutual friend, a family member. Instantly, Mr. Drumgold was delicious. He just oozed bossness, and I told him, I got to have you, like.
Oh, that's what you told him?
Yes, he said, I'm feeling you too. So we made it from there.
So why did it never become a relationship?
Time I was in a relationship.
You won't believe this. Mr. Drumgold spills the beans about walking in on another dude getting cozy with Ms. Holman. That throws a big ol' wrench in the who's your daddy mystery.
But
as far
Your Honor, I came to her mother's house and another man was rubbing her belly.
He knew I was dealing with other men because I was very honest with Robert, Mr. Drumgold, up front. I was super honest with him, and I told him, I'm doing me, you doing you, because I know how you get down, period. When I was all in for it with him, he was not wanting no parts of me.
You were doing you, and he's doing him.
Absolutely.
Enter Mr. Rich, the plot thickener. He's been in the on and off game with Ms. Holman for years and thought maybe, just maybe, he might be Alani's pops. The plot thickens. Don't blink now, because what's coming up will drop your jaw.
How did you two meet?
We met at a party back in 2016. She gave me a lap dance and we ended up having sex.
And how long did the sexual relationship last?
It was off and on. It's been off and on for the last 4 years.
Still in a sexual relationship now. Sir, did she tell you when she was pregnant with Alani that Alani was your child?
Yes, she did.
Grab your tissues, folks. Mr. Rich gets all in his feels about Alani, even though he's not sure if he's the father. He's ready to play dad no matter what the test says, because let's face it, he's smitten. What comes next will tug at your heartstrings even more.
Through the pole pregnancy, I still had love for this woman. It wasn't until after Alani was born when I really fell in love with that child and made up my mind I was gonna be there.
Well, how would you even tell me? There ain't no possibility that it could be nobody else. If he wasn't in the picture, then why is he here?
Rich to come back. I knew that Rich wasn't the father, but I knew that he would be there for me. I knew he loved me.
Talk about a family tree with more branches than a sequoia. Miss Nelson lays out her wild family situation, noting the mismatch between her heartfelt daddy-o and the guy on her birth certificate. Then, out of the blue, some dude slides into her DMs on Facebook claiming he's her pops. Stick around, because this soap opera's got more episodes.
Ms. Nelson, you say you grew up believing one man was your father, yet had another man listed on your birth certificate. Then, after you turned 30 years old, a third man, the defendant, suddenly contacted you on Facebook claiming he was your father. Today, you say you hope DNA test results finally reveal the truth.
Here comes Mr. Sterling, bringing the drama along with his daughter. He's here to drop some truth bombs about being the real daddy and to clear up why another guy's name got the feature spot on the birth certificate. Grab your popcorn. The plot thickens after this.
Mr. Sterling, you're here with your daughter and say, was she who helped you find Ms. Nelson? You claim today you will reveal why other man's name is on Ms. Nelson's birth certificate. Prove to her you are indeed her father.
The courtroom hits peak suspense. They whip out Miss Nelson's birth certificate, which has Vincent Preston Nelson stamped on it as her father, a guy she's never even heard of. Plot twist, you'll need to see it to believe what happens next.
Father's name listed, Vincent Preston Nelson. And that's not the name of the gentleman you visited in prison.
No, Your Honor.
So this had to be confusing.
Yes, Your Honor. I was hurt because I never knew who he was. I just knew that this man was my dad, and I felt like my mom should have told me that this man was my father, even though he was in and out of prison. I was hurt.
Just when you thought it couldn't get more tangled, Miss Nelson talks about getting a mysterious Facebook message from a guy named Christopher Lancaster claiming daddy status. This random message years later just adds to the who's your daddy drama. The intrigue doesn't stop here, folks.
So then you get a message, another man saying he's your father.
I got a message from a man named Christopher Lancaster saying that I'm your dad. He was sorry for not being in my life. He left 2 numbers on there, contacted both those numbers. The numbers were disconnected because it was that he had left me the message. It was in my other's box. talked on Facebook. That's how he messaged me on Facebook.
Mr. Sterling takes the stage to spill the beans about his old flame with Miss Nelson's mom and why he ghosted, blaming it on life choices and some family gatekeeping. Emotional alert, the feels are about to get real.
Your name is Christopher Sterling. Did she get this message from a Christopher Lancaster? Do you know that person?
Yes, ma'am. I put that message on Facebook. The reason being, I had problems with other people in my life, so I didn't want to use my real full name. I made up a Facebook page of Christopher Lancaster. I always was looking for my daughter.
Didn't see that coming, did ya? Plot twist of the day, Mr. Sterling announces he's actually Vincent Preston Nelson, the dude on the birth cert. The courtroom's jaws hit the floor, including Miss Nelson's. Hang tight, the emotional fallout is up next.
My question is, how can this be possible? Because there's the man in prison, and there's Vincent Preston Nelson, and then you say you're at the hospital.
Because, ma'am, I am Vincent Preston Nelson.
You are Vincent Preston Nelson.
Yes, ma'am, and I have evidence to prove to you right now today.
Diving deeper, court hears about the love story between Mr. Sterling and Miss Nelson's mom, their youthful romance, and why it ended up in the note pile. Just when you think it's all out in the open, there's more to the story.
We met in high school. We had sex every day during the summer. My mother walked in the door, and I heard the key come in. My mother walked by, and then I forgot and left her clothes there, her shoes in the living room. And my mother seen it and said, "Who you have in this house?" I said, "Nobody." And she opened up the closet door.
That's what you call busted.
The big reveal is here, folks.
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Sterling, you are her father.
You won't believe the drama that's about to unfold here. Ms. Walker steps up with a tale about her son, Delante's maybe baby, Delante Royal, and the big question mark after her son's tragic exit stage left. She's here fishing for DNA proof to see if she can call this kiddo her grandson. Talk about an emotional roller coaster, right? The stakes are sky high, given the soap opera-worthy backstory. And trust me, you'll want to stick around for the next bit.
Ms. Walker, you say before your son Delante's tragic death, he had doubts that he had fathered the defendant's 1-year-old son, Delante Royal. You claim you need today's DNA results so you can embrace this child as your grandson. Ms. Royal, you claim that you are 100% positive that Ms. Walker's deceased son is biological father of your child, and today's results will prove paternity.
Hold on to your popcorn, folks. Ms. Walker dives deep into the feels train with a story about her son's untimely demise and his leftover doubts about whether he was actually a dad. She's all about finding closure and possibly welcoming this little one into the family fold, mentioning how heavy this whole scenario is weighing on her. The judge nods along, totally getting the emotional turmoil. Just when you think it can't get more intense, the next scene takes it up a notch.
Well, Your Honor, my son was tragically murdered. The day of his passing, my son left something behind with me, and that was his doubt. And I am here today to get the doubt taken care of. Her child, her son, I don't know if that's my grandchild or not. And it hurts. I would love to embrace that child.
Man, the vibes here are intense. Ms. Walker lays out how much her fam digs Ms. Royal's little dude, but there's a big old cloud of doubt raining on their love parade. They're all about needing rock-solid answers to wash away the uncertainty so they can fully open their arms to the type. You can practically feel the family tug-of-war going on. Buckle up, because the story takes a wild turn just around the corner.
We love her son, but we just can't go all the way. We can't be 100%. Because we just don't know. We need those answers. We need to know. My son would have wanted that. He did want that. You know, he had doubt.
Touch me when you said your son left something behind.
Yes, he did.
And we want to say he left a son.
Right.
Cue the drama music. Ms. Royal steps up to defend her honor, swearing up and down that Delante was indeed the baby daddy. No questions asked. She recounts a spicy tale of text messages and suspicions that got Delante wondering if he was the father after all. Ms. Royal is sticking to her guns, claiming loyalty through and through. Just wait till you hear what comes next. It's a doozy.
The reason why I say that, I have been completely loyal to him. There's no other person that can say, this may be my child. I am 100% sure that this is Delante's son.
I remember one day, to fuel his doubt, they got in an argument. He seen text messages between her and a guy around the time when she conceived, and so he doubted.
Whoa, things just got real in the delivery room. Picture this. Delante is there, the baby pops out, and boom, drama bomb. He publicly says no thanks to a DNA test to keep the peace, but whispers to his mama later that yep, he's gonna need that test after all. This scene has personal drama and public facades clashing in a spectacular fashion. And yup, there's more juice coming up.
The day of the birth, we're all in there, we're all happy. It was her family member. He embraced that child. He kissed the baby on the forehead and everything. She she asked him, she said, he laid his head on my shoulder. He said, first he said, Mom, I think I'm gonna throw up when he seen the baby. You know, he looked around, seen her family members, he told her no. But then later on that day, he looked at me and Mom said, yeah, I need a DNA test.
You're not gonna believe this twist. After the baby's grand entrance, Delonte can't shake off his nagging doubts and confesses to his mom that he indeed wants that DNA test, stat. This sneak peek into his private concerns versus his public face just thickens the plot. Meanwhile, Ms. Royal is out of the loop, making the trust issues even spicier. The big reveal is up next, and it's a jaw-dropper.
I didn't care about the doubt. He named my child after
So
him.
it's your testimony. The reason why I can him do you want one is because I knew it was his child. So if you want one, let's get it so
Let's
we can
get it over
done.
with. You know,
Why he didn't sign a birth certificate, Your Honor?
He didn't sign it because he didn't have his ID. When we kept telling him he was being irresponsible, that was not my fault.
Everyone in the courtroom is on the edge of their seats.
It has been determined by this court. The percentage of relatedness between Ms. Monique Walker, Delonte Royal is 99.99.
Period.
You are related.
Here's the scoop. Ms. Alston kicks things off with a bang, stating her case to prove Mr. Holmes is actually her biological dad. She's totally sure about it despite Mr. Holmes waiving the birth certificate and child support papers like a flag at a football game, insisting Mr. Alston is her real dad.
Come to court to prove to the defendant, Mr. Holmes, whom you first met at the age of 15, that you are his biological daughter. You say there's no way she's your child, and today the DNA will prove your case. You say her biological father is David Alston, the man who is on her birth certificate and paid child support for her.
Just when you thought it was simple, Mr. Holmes throws a curveball, doubting he's Ms. Alston's father, with tales of his brief flings with her mom. His recounts are more casual than a Sunday morning, and his skepticism stems from being out of the loop about Ms. Alston until she was practically all grown up.
Because Miss Alston's mother, back in the day, she was like, because I met her at the school bus stop. She was in high school. 2 days later, after I met her, I had sex. I called her again. A couple days later, asked her to come back, and we had sex again. So it was kind of like a booty call. Yeah, I didn't know nothing about her until 15 years later. So I kind of felt that she wasn't mine because I didn't even know that she existed until that time.
Grab your tissues, folks. Ms. Alston dives deep into her emotional bag of woes, chatting about her daddy issues with Mr. Alston, the man she thought was her pops. This bit is more tangled than last year's Christmas lights, showing us just how messy family secrets can be.
As to why your mother said one man was your father, then another man, did she ever give you a reason?
She never did. When she told me and I met Miss Jenny, when they took me in as a family, I just ran with it because she said he was my dad.
Did you run with it because you had such a difficult relationship with Mr. Alston, needed somewhere to run?
Yes, Your Honor.
You won't see this coming. Enter Mr. Alston, strutting into court like he owns the place, fully convinced he's the daddy. His shock at the mere suggestion of not being the father could win him an Oscar.
She says she was told for the first 15 years of her life that you were her biological father, and then all of a sudden she was given another name.
15 years ago? I just found out what?
So you're saying that up until recently, you still considered her your daughter?
Yes, that's my daughter. There's no way in the world I would not think.
He calls me his daughter sitting here, never been a dad to me.
And the plot thickens. As if we're in the middle of a soap opera, Mr. Holmes and Mr. Alston go head-to-head, slinging mud about who did what for Ms. Alston. This showdown is juicier than a high school gossip session.
You don't care for him because you feel like he rejected you when you needed help?
Yes, it is. I mean, 16 years he found out something different. I was like, wow.
If you knew that she was your daughter, it shouldn't even matter. You should never, that's why I feel the way I feel, man. If you a claimer, you don't want to have nothing to do with it. If that's your daughter,
I tried several times to have her to move in.
If you know for sure deep down in your heart, you don't turn her away, man.
Hold the phone, folks.
Mr. Alston, you are not Alston.
Get the...
Why is she doing that?
Lord have mercy.